Всем привет! Меня зовут Wally и добро пожаловать на мой канал. So I had a bit of an epiphany the other day, and I realized that in creating a Robbed Goddesses series, that theoretically I can talk about any kind of meet or result that I want, and it falls under the umbrella of that series. I am such an unintentional genius. First, I just wanted to give a quick thanks to everybody who watches my channel. YouTube has a new program where you are eligible to be partially monetized once you reach a certain threshold, which I did a few days ago. I'm now about 800 hours from being fully monetized, which means I can get AdSense. Yes. When I started making gymnastics content about 2.5 years ago, of course, I always strived to get to this point, to be a partner, to be monetized, but it often felt like a pipe dream and nothing that I thought was actually tangible. That's like the goddess pose. So to make it this far, it feels very gratifying, and I know I couldn't have done it with everybody who watches my content, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. I know I can be a bit capricious at times and not always the most consistent. I also know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, so I really appreciate the faithful viewers who watch every single video, and a big thank you to any new viewers who recently might have stumbled across my channel. I have a long back catalog that you can check out. I also think I've come a long way, both in terms of editing and just as an overall content creator. I definitely don't think I could have done that without getting feedback from people. So I am more than receptive to constructive criticism. You can message me on Instagram. I think my email should be in my about section. You can get a hold of me. I'm not that hard to get a hold of. So today we are going back to the Soviet Union's swan song as a team, technically, the 1991 World Championships in Indianapolis. Now, this meet could be a 5-part series on its own, but I wanted to start with perhaps the most upsetting result in a competition rife with some of the most suspicious, ominous, and collusive BS I've seen in my 31 years as a fan. So I've mentioned before how vault is often treated as the redheaded stepchild, at least in the US. So this was my first time seeing the entire vault final. We are also blessed with Monica Phelps' commentary, so I will drop in any golden nuggets that fell out of her mouth when applicable. I was really excited to watch this, and then I saw the start list, and any potential stimulation just kind of dissipated. Diversity-wise, the vault final was equivalent to the population of Maine. We have 2 Soviets, 2 Romanians, a Hungarian, a Chinese, and 2 Americans, neither of whom had a competitive second vault. Tatiana Lysenko, who posted the second highest vault score of the entire World Championships, along with Milosevic up to this point, was oddly subbed out in favor of Oksana Chusovitina, but I'm low-key okay with it happening, otherwise I wouldn't be here with you today. Of course, Lysenko was allowed to keep her spot in the vault final at the Olympics the following year, where she would win the bronze medal. Having just been unjustly dethroned of her world all-around title, Svetlana Leonidovna gets us underway. Her first and obviously preferred vault was a layout Yurchenko full that we're going to see all day, and the landing was spot on. Really nice vault. Good line, good extension. She is a very elegant vaulter, which isn't normally an adjective used to describe a vaulter. But Svetlana definitely has an elegance about her vaulting. She scores a 995 for her first vault. Last year I made a video recapping the 92 Europeans vault final, where Baginskaya way overcooked her second vault and went hurling into the mat, derriere first. That overcorrection very well may have been an effect of what happens here. She does her piped cuervo and lands very low in a deep squat and has to take a step forward. And just as would be the case at Europeans, there will be no vault medal for Baginskaya. By luck of the draw, the gymnast who dethroned Svetlana is the one who follows her here. In qualifying for this final, Kim Zmeskal scored a 9.775 in compulsories and a perfect 10 in optionals. So that really shows you the depth and range of her work. Her first vault is the vault du jour, Yurchenko layout full. I think she may have been coming down from the height of her historic all-around win because it's easily one of the worst vaults I've ever seen from Zmeskal. I also think one of her handguards might have broken or come loose. There seemed to be some kind of issue there, but she gets nowhere near a good enough push from the horse. She doesn't have enough height or time to do her trademark flare on this vault, and she comes up woefully short. She has to take a couple steps forward to save, putting her hands down, and she scores a 9.75. Thankfully, she has a second vault to redeem herself somewhat, but she does not. She performs a handspring front tuck, which is only out of a 9.9, and gets almost zero block from the handspring entry. She quickly assumes a ghastly position on the front tuck after flight. She was lucky to make it to her feet, and she has to take a large step back. Neither of these vaults would be acceptable to earn the Soviet spot for champions all, let alone a medal in a world vault final. One of life's great mysteries is what happened to Kim's second vault, as she had shown a pretty terrific Pike Cuervo in the prior years, both in 89 and 90. I don't know, maybe Rick Newman was the vault coach at Caroli's, and when he left, so did their second vault ability. Kim's second vault gets a somewhat generous 9.65 for a 9.7 average. Next up is Henrietta Onodi, who, as Monica informs us,
Henrietta's tiny and vault used to be her weakest piece, but gradually she's come up through the world rankings.
Henrietta is the first gymnast to perform a non-Yurchenko for her first vault. She does a piked Barani, very clean and a gorgeous landing, perhaps a tad bit low, but it's lovely. At times it's kind of difficult to tell exactly how much height and distance each vault gets, so I've kind of just been using the lines on the landing mat as a general guide. For the most part, the gymnasts tend to land right around the second line. Onodi scores a 9.95 for her first vault. Her second vault is a Yurchenko layout full. She's not nearly as confident with this one, and her hurdle almost seems mistimed at the last second. Regardless, she is able to pull off a pretty good vault. Not the best block, but she gets good distance. She does have to take a sizable hop backwards, which results in the vault scoring a 9.887, and her 9.918 average has her in first for the moment. So next up is our titular robbed goddess, Oksana Alexandrovna Chusovitina. She does the same first vault as Onodi, handspring pike front with a half, only she is more explosive and is able to open up into a stretched position before hitting the floor. She also lands with a better chest position and shows no movement on the landing. I would say she also travels further from the horse than Henrietta did. It is a fabulous vault.
It was a fraction better than Onodi's in my opinion because she straightened out from the half twist.
But despite the esteemed opinions of both Monica and myself, I would have given this a 9.95 easily. Oksana's first vault scores a 9.925, 0.025 lower than Onodi. Laughable, except I'm not laughing. And although Oksana was subbed into the vault final, it's not like she was some unknown when it came to having an international reputation on the event. She'd won the gold medal on vaulting at the 1990 Goodwill Games over Natalia Kalinina and a 12-year-old Gina Gogian. I mean, this reputation is likely what got Oksana subbed in the first place. I mean, I really don't think she could have done that vault much better. So to see her count 2.99s and 2.995s, why would anybody score that vault a 9.9? I don't get it. Oksana is the only gymnast in the final not performing a Yurchenko vault. Her second vault is a layout Sukahara with a full twist, infamously the vault that Mary Lou Retton won the Olympics with. And this vault is also spectacular. Again, she lands well past the second line. She has great repulsion. she keeps her body completely straight throughout the afterflight and lands pretty much straight up and down. The landing was a tiny bit less secure than her first one, but it's basically another stuck vault. Not only is Oksana the only gymnast in the final not performing a Yurchenko vault, she's also only one of 2 gymnasts to perform a Sukahara vault. For some reason during this time in the sport, Yurchenko vaults were heavily favored by athletes, coaches, and judges alike. It's interesting to note that in the 2022 Code of Points, a Sukahara layout full is valued at 4.4, 1/10 higher than the 4.3 assigned to a layout Yurchenko full. And for more reference, a handspring tucked Barani is a 3.8 in the current code, and a handspring pike Barani is a 4.0. Also, if anyone remembers my video about how the FIG has tried to erase Svetlana Khorkina from the Code of Points, if you don't, I will helpfully link to it in the upper right hand corner. So remember when I said that the WTC had removed Cuervo vaults from the code, which meant that Khorkina's first eponymous vault went sayonara along with them? Well, I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but they are back again. Khorkina's first vault has been grouped with Pokapayeva's under the same number, and I think that's why I got confused in my first video, but it sounds like the timeline was more like Cuervos were banned, at some point the WTC let them back in, but when it was brought back in, her name was kept out of it. Shocker, I know. Anyway, segueing back to the 91 World Vault Final, it definitely felt like in the early 90s, non-Yurchenko vaults were heavily discouraged, especially Sukaharas. I understand that some gymnasts lack power performing a traditional entry vault, but Chusovitina is not one of them. Her score on this vault of 9.912 is honestly a crime against humanity. If it was 1946, I would say that those judges should be in Nuremberg on trial. I mean, ridiculous. This likely means 4 judges scored this vault a 9.90 and 2 scored it a 9.95, which is what I would have scored it. And I just can't see how that is possible aside from the fix being in. Sorry, not sorry. Oksana's average of 9.918 ties her with Henrietta, although she would absolutely be the leader at this point in my increasingly less and less humble opinion. Shannon Miller fills up the next spot. She does a layout Yurchenko full landing with her chest and her knees, yet it somehow scores the same as Oksana's beautiful second vault, a 9.912. This is just a joke now. Her second vault is a handspring front with little power and a wicked cowboy. She over-rotates and has to take a step forward. It scores 9.712 for a 9.812 average. Next up is Lian from China. She does another layout Yurchenko full. As Monica says,
it's a little bit soft in her middle body.
She also has to take a big hop back and scores a 9.825. For her second vault, Lee performs a Sukahara with indeterminate position. I think it's supposed to be a layout Suk, but was not successful. When we spoke earlier about why Sukaharas were treated with such disdain, this is Exhibit A. Oy vey. Monica says this will likely get downgraded, and I think she's right because she only scores 9.425 for a 9.625 average. In her senior world debut, Lavinia Milosevic is up next. She scored a 9.975 during optionals and absolutely is a contender for this crown. First vault is a cracker of a layout Yurchenko full. It just flies, and she has a pretty great landing. She twists early enough and lays it out, thus having more than enough time to spot the landing. Her chest could be a little bit more upright, but that's nearly all there is to take. The judges agree as she receives a couple of 10s, counting one, and scoring a 9.962. Lavinia's second vault is a handspring tucked Barani, which was out of a 10.0, but is the easiest of the 10.0 vaults in the final. It's a good vault, but not a brilliant one. She gets good push, good height, great distance, but she's slightly over-rotated and has to take a significant hop back. Not a huge hop, but obviously a noticeable one that merits a deduction. But this will surely take the lead thanks to the armed robbery that occurred while Oksana Chusovitina was on the runway earlier. And that's exactly what happened. She gets a 9.937 for a 9.949 average. And honestly, in isolation, I don't even think that Milosevic was that overscored. The issue is that she was just scored with a completely different pin than Chusovitina was. Last up is Kristina Bontosh, the reigning world silver medalist from the 89 Worlds in Stuttgart. First vault, lay out your Chinko full, performed very well, good block, good dynamics, and a stuck landing. She has the landing position I would have liked to have seen from Milosevic. Unfortunately, you can tell she was a contemporary of Silivas because there is a significant leg separation as she makes contact with the horse. And it's hard to tell from the angle, but I'm not sure she ever gets her legs all the way back together until she lands. Her first vault scores a 9.962, so a 9.937 on her second will tie her for the gold. Anything higher than that, and she will win outright. She does a Pite Cuervo, but pushes way too hard and doesn't come close to finding the landing, having to take 3 or 4 steps backward. I mentioned in my video about 92 Europeans that the only time gymnasts had to perform a second vault was during a hypothetical final, so they typically were not as well trained, and you can tell from this effort by Bontosh. It scores a 9.8 for a 9.881 average and a 4th place finish, which is kind of disappointing, at least for her, anyway. Not so much for her teammate, Lavinia Milosevic, who wins her first world title under auspicious and suspicious circumstances. Chusovitina and Onodi tie for silver. So if I had been judging this final, I would have had Chusovitina first. I would have probably scored both of her vaults 995. And then I probably would have had Onodi and Milosevic tied score-wise, but ranking, I think I would have Milosevic second and Onodi third. So hopefully the question that you're thinking is, what the f*** happened here? I definitely have my suspicions, but it's just one part in the larger big picture that was this entire competition. And obviously everything ties together, it's all connected. So we will be getting into it piece by piece in future installments. Because, as I said at the top, we are not done with 91 Worlds, not by a long shot. As always, I would love to hear what you guys think. Was there a robbed goddess here? Please sound off down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it more than you could ever know. I will see you guys in my next one. Take care. Do skórova. Bye, loves.